Okay, it's on. Hi, Jeff.
He's frozen.
You're frozen in time.
There's a poor network. There it is.
Hey!
You're echoing.
There we go.
There you
I
are.
hear an echo.
Echo. There's Jeff.
Hi.
Hey, everybody.
How are you, Jeff?
I'm living the dream. How are you guys?
Pretty good.
Wake up, you're still living it.
I'm going to show you my bracelet. Can you see it?
Yay!
Cool.
If you can, when you give me your address, I'll send you a new one. We got new ones.
They're glow in the dark.
But this one still works.
I know, but we got glow in the dark ones now.
Very good. Because I'm getting lost in the dark quite a bit.
Don't we all?
Yeah. So how's camp going?
This is our first day. It's going okay.
So it's going great.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Can everybody say their names? Go down the line.
Lizzie.
I didn't even have to tell them.
James.
Kiana. Heavenly. Erica. Callie.
You guys got to speak up.
Is there more?
Nope.
No.
All right. Well, I'm Jeff Belanger, and it's great to see you all from last year and to meet some new faces and all that other stuff. So, thanks for having me through Skype.
Thanks for coming
Yeah.
through Skype.
Do you have any questions you'd like me to jump off on?
There goes Georgia, watch this. Come on.
Go, Georgia, go.
Georgia. Oh, okay, hold on, wait.
You got this.
You got this, Georgia.
What's your best advice for us since we're so young and still pretty new to all of this? Like, what's the best advice you can give us?
So, advice I would give anyone that wants to be a paranormal investigator is that take your time, go at your own pace, and you don't have to follow the crowd. You don't have to spend a lot of money and buy all the equipment that you see on TV. You don't have to, you can do things your own way. Some people are really intuitive. They want to do more with psychic impressions and feelings. Other people want to go more toward historical research. And other people want to do more like the gear and the gadgets. And there's really no wrong way, and you don't have to do it all. I think almost like playing a musical instrument, you're going to be drawn to one over another. And it's okay to sort of specialize. My specialty is more research and history and legends and lore and stuff like that. That's the part I love because, man, I've sat all night in front of an EMF meter in some old, dark, creepy places, and I'm just like, this isn't a lot of fun for me. I'd rather be walking around and breathing the place in and experiencing it and understanding what took place there before I ever arrived. That gets me excited, as opposed to just hoping something will light up an EMF meter. So, but then other people really have all the gear, and that's cool. So I think find what works for you, the part you enjoy the most, and don't be afraid to kind of specialize in it.
Very good.
And try to get your own TV show. It helps a lot. They have a lot of money.
Ha ha.
Well, speaking of TV, how do you think TV affects this field and other investigators?
Yeah, the TV boom is both good and bad for paranormal investigating. The good thing is that ghosts are totally out of the closet now. So when I was growing up, you didn't really talk openly about haunted places and your ghost experiences because people would think you're crazy, and it was still one of those things that no, people will lock you up. Now, because the shows are so popular, I think people are allowed to, go to school and be like, oh man, I think my house is haunted, and I heard about this creepy haunted cemetery I want to check out, and that's not so weird anymore. And that's all thanks to the popularity of the television shows. That just wow, everyday people go and look into this. So that's really great because the more we can talk about it, the more we can learn from each other, the more stuff we can find out, and that's awesome. The downside is people expect that when you go on an investigation, every 7 minutes, something weird is going to happen, and you're going to be scared every 7 minutes, and then you'll go to a commercial, and when you come back from the commercial, you'll find something else scary. And the reality is, if you've ever been on an investigation, is it can go hours and hours and nothing happens, and you can go the whole time and nothing happens, or nothing happens and then you find out the really exciting stuff happens weeks later when you review all your evidence and you found something that you couldn't review at the time. So that's really what it's more about. When you watch a TV show on the paranormal, you're watching a highlight reel of everything that took place over the span of days. So it's all been kind of compressed down and edited and brought together. And so that's, that's what you're seeing. So it's kind of sets unrealistic expectations as to what, exactly occurs during those things. So the downside is that, and then also too, like sometimes, people's personalities overtake the subject on television shows, where it's more about, the stars of the show as it is about the paranormal. And so people start focusing on that instead of, the actual research. I don't know. I'm an optimistic kind of person, so I'm always looking for the bright side. And so for me, the bright side is it's out of the closet. We get to talk about it. We get to go and explore it. When you call haunted buildings and say, hey, we want to bring a group in, that's not the first time they've had that call, so you actually get to go and experience some of these buildings. So I think the good outweighs the bad, but sure, there's downsides too.
Do you think that it helps whenever young investigators who are still new to the field watch the TV shows for like advice and everything?
Whatever inspires you, right? Everybody gets inspired by something. So I think when I was young, there was TV shows. We had a few. They weren't like ghost hunting shows, but they were strange tales. Like there was a show called In Search Of and Amazing Stories and all these other things that touched on paranormal themes. I remember watching X-Files and I was just like, whoa, this is incredible. There's people that actually check this stuff out. And so that inspired me. And then I went and did the real work. So I think it's okay to get your inspiration wherever you get it from. But don't take television as like the gospel of how you have to do things, right? You should take it further than that. If this really calls to you enough to go to like a whole camp for it and to actually go and investigate, I think the next move is to start doing your own research. Read the books, read the old books, read the new books, do your research online, learn about the history of these places, learn, don't just get an EMF meter, find out why it works and how it works and exactly what it does. It's not a ghost detector, right? It detects electromagnetic force. So don't just take the thing you saw on TV and go, I've got this, so now I'm a ghost hunter. Like, really get into it and understand how the whole thing works.
So, when do you want to start producing the Teen Camp show?
Yeah, start producing the Teen Camp show? How about tomorrow?
Okay.
Today is very busy. Tomorrow would be better.
Totally works.
Yeah, that's probably the next thing, There's so many paranormal shows that are coming online right now. And I haven't really seen, well, there was one attempt at, I think, at a teen show, but I don't think that's out of the realm to believe that someone wouldn't try to do that, like a Disney Channel or something like that might want to take like a younger person approach to the subject. Because, this topic calls to people of all ages. There's old people that ghost hunt, there's young, like little kids that ghost hunt, and everyone in between. People from all walks of life. And I think that's one of the things I like about it the most is that it affects everybody, right? We're all going to die one day. We all heard stories growing up, whether you believe them or don't believe them, or they're part of your religion or not part of your religion. It touches something deep on every single person. And so it makes sense to me. You guys should go and pitch it. There you go. Paranormal TV, but I can't produce it today. It's got to be tomorrow.
All right.
Well, they better ask me first, because I've been doing it for 9 years.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that one.
They better go through me first, because I've been doing it for 9 years.
Well, now you're too old. Sorry.
Oh, thanks a lot, Jeff.
Yeah, you're out. Sorry. There's an age cap.
Oh, I see. I'll be the old lady camp.
Yeah, right.
Ladies with walkers.
It's getting late. Get in here. Put on a coat. It's cold.
That's me.
Eat your soup before you go out there. You'll catch your death.
I need my cane.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, you could be like the den mother. Perfect.
There you go. Go ahead, girls. Ask questions.
What's your most memorable experience in investigation?
So for me, my most memorable was probably the first time I saw a ghost. And when I say investigating, I mean, I was just checking the place out. And I've often found that's, to me, when stuff happens. When you got all the gear set up and all the cameras aimed and focused just right and everything perfect, I don't seem to have much luck with that. But when you just arrive and you're walking around and breathing it in, weird stuff happens. I remember the first time I was in the catacombs of Paris, France. And this is a place where there's literally millions of human bones buried below ground that have been down there since the mid-1700s. And I'm alone walking through these tunnels lined with skeletons on both sides. And as I'm walking, I suddenly see this shadow the size of a man move from one side to the other and go back. And I just froze, and I went, okay, wait a minute. No one's down here with me. Maybe there's maybe there's another person. Maybe there's a side tunnel. And when my brain went through everything it could possibly be, and I ran out of ideas, I just went, if that's not a ghost, then I don't have another word for that. And it's a game changer when you see something like that. Another time, speaking of setups, we were going to Penhurst to film Paranormal Challenge, which was Zach from Ghost Adventures hosted it, and I was one of the judges on that episode. And we were it was this paranormal competition show where people would go and investigate Penhurst. And we were there 5 minutes and went down to the tunnels that connect some of the buildings. And I was there with Zach and Dave Schrader. And suddenly we hear this faint giggling way down in the hallway, somewhere in the dark. And then this cold rush of air just goes right by us. And all three of us look at each other like, whoa. It just felt like the building is ready to talk. No cameras were there. We didn't set up. We were just walking through. And that had just happened in the first 30 seconds. And it just felt like this building is ready to talk. And it's our job to listen. It was cool.
Guys, tell them where you're going Thursday.
Yeah, where are you going Thursday?
Oh yeah, we are going to Penhurst this week.
I know, and that's why I mentioned that story.
Hallelujah! Damn, you're
Yeah,
good.
that's one of my favorite places. Penhurst is so profound because human atrocities took place there. Horrible, horrible things to human beings took place there in the 1970s. 1970s, not that long ago, right? We're not talking about hundreds of years ago, just a few decades ago. And I mean, people were put in cages. They were put in dog kennels. They had their teeth removed if they were biting people. They were treated subhuman, and that's just awful, right? I mean, and you feel that. I think when you walk in, you sort of feel that sadness, that leftover sadness and horrible emotion that's just oozing from the walls. And that, to me, is what kind of helps us tune in to whatever might be there, whether it's kind of like a recording that's been left there, or whether it's something that might still be kind of lingering the halls, haunting us, because we don't want those atrocities to ever happen again there or anywhere else. And that's really the lesson of Penhurst, right? And I think that's why it's important that we go there and investigate it, and in investigating it, ask what happened here, and have an understanding that, wow, I lived in a country where you could treat human beings that way. That just shouldn't be. Not here, not anywhere, but especially not here. And hopefully that kind of gives us some resolve for the future to not do that ever again.
What else, guys?
Is there any popular place that you've been that you thought wow, this really isn't?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. You gotta go way louder.
Is there any popular place that you've been that you thought wow, this isn't really what I expected? I thought a little more.
Yeah, I get, once there's a gift shop, it gets a little harder to, and I get it, right? I get it. So some of these old buildings, they keep themselves open by charging people to come in and take tours or investigate or whatever, and that's how they keep these buildings standing. So I understand, but at the same time, once you start selling t-shirts that this is the most haunted place on earth, and I survived, and then it starts to get further and further away from what it actually was. So sometimes a place just can't live up to the hype. I think one of those places, I was in San Diego at the Whaley House. And it's the interesting thing about the Whaley House is it was supposed to be haunted from the first week they built it back in the 1800s, because they built it on the grounds where they used to hang people. They had public hangings right on this corner. This guy, Thomas Whaley, buys the property, builds a house. He watched a man named Yankee Jim Robinson get hanged right on that property. And the thing about Yankee Jim was he's a really tall man. And the hangman made the rope too long. So Yankee Jim's neck didn't snap. When the gallows opened, he was sort of dangling. And he just choked out over way too long a period of time. When Whaley had just finished completion of his house, it's like the first week, and he wrote in his journal that he heard like boot stomps going up and down the stairs, and he thought, wow, I wonder if that's the ghost of old Yankee Jim, who, by the way, is buried like 1 block down the street. You can see his grave in the local cemetery. And so I have no doubt this place is haunted. It's been talked about endlessly for over a century about it being haunted. But when you get there and the tours start to get a little theatrical and they start to talk about all these crazy things that happened and and then they're trying to sell you T-shirts, you suddenly go like, well, I don't know, it's not quite as exciting as I would have hoped. So for me, that was more a letdown. Whereas a place like Pennhurst, where they're just like, look, this is what it looks like now. Go in and see what you experience. That to me is a lot better, as opposed to like putting things behind plexiglass and all that other stuff. So it's just more authentic to me to go to like an old abandoned building or rundown place, or a place that looks like it would have looked back when it was open.
What else, guys?
Speak!
What's your favorite equipment to use?
Favorite piece of equipment? Usually when I go to a place, I always have like a pen and paper. I always have a camera, which is, usually my phone, by the way, and an audio recorder. I want to capture the place as best I can with photographs, with video clips. If there's someone there that had an experience, I want to interview them, either a video interview or an audio interview. So to me, like, I'm never anywhere without that stuff, always. And so, because I want to document the place first. If I'm actually investigating, I do have one of the SOS cameras that you see on some of the shows, where it's like it's the Microsoft Kinect camera that puts people into software, and it measures EMF, and it measures temperature, and it measures distance, and all kinds of other things. And what I like about it is I also have an Xbox that I play games with. And so I have some understanding of how that camera works. It's looking for human motion, for human figures, because it needs to put you into the game. So if you move your arm up, the character moves its arm up, and so on. That's what it's designed to do. Bill Chappell made this thing look into the infrared part of the spectrum a little more than the current camera does. And so it's looking for people. And when it finds one, it says, okay, I think I found a person, here it is. Now, you can get false positives on it, but I've seen that thing do some stuff where we were in the Mark Twain house in Hartford, Connecticut, and it's this great old building. Mark Twain was an amazing author, and we're at the top of the stairs, and all of a sudden this little kid, like half the size of a regular person, is now in the camera along with a woman. And it's really crowded. There's a lot of people up there. So we're like, okay, wait a minute, this could be a glitch. And we start moving, everybody get out. Everybody get behind the camera, not in front of it. So everybody's moving. But there was this one woman that it seems like drawn to. So we said, you stay, just once. So there's the woman, and you see her very clearly as like a stick figure with the dots. And she's full height. And then right next to her is this half the size little person. And we're watching, and we said, hey, can you reach your hand out and touch this woman's hand? She's really nice, she won't hurt you. So the woman puts her hand out, and you see it in real time, and you see it on the SLS cam. And then the little kid puts that hand out and touches hers, and you're just going, okay, that's weird. And then we're asking, can you raise your hands and wave to us? Can you wave? And it starts responding and doing the things we're asking. And now I'm going, all right, I can't fully explain what's going on here, if not, some sort of energy responding to what we're saying. And this went on for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I mean, that's a long time. It wasn't like a couple of seconds. And even at one point, someone ran from upstairs right in front of the camera and said, ooh, I want to see. And it like broke the connection. And we're like, oh, I think you just killed it. But no, as soon as she was out of the way, it came right back. And then after it was almost like 3 minutes, finally it just vanished. And it was over. And we have it all recorded. We have it all, up there. And you just go, man, I that to me was pretty amazing because I understand what the camera was doing and how it works, and to me that was pretty compelling. Whereas like when EMF meters flash or whatever, like there's so many things that'll set off an EMF meter. There's literally like a car can drive by, the wind can shift, there's magnetic energy all around us all the time that's not necessarily responding to your voice commands. So to me, that was something that I was like, all right, this is pretty cool. Now it stinks because those things are wicked expensive, and I get that, not everyone has I think they're like $1,200 or something. So I get not everyone has that to spend on that kind of stuff, but most of the time I don't have it. Most of the time I'm just my phone camera and an audio recorder and a pen and paper, and I'm good, and I'm perfectly content to kind of capture these places.
What do we tell you guys to take with you? A piece of paper and a pen.
Does anyone want to ask what Zach's like or anything?
Yeah.
I'm not telling.
I'm not gonna tell. Does he ask if he still works with him?
Yeah.
Do you still work with him?
Yeah, every episode since the beginning. I've worked on every episode of Ghost Adventures that's ever aired, and it's been almost 11 years now, which is crazy. And yeah, no, we just finished filming this year's miniseries, which is on serial killers. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to tell you that, but I just did, so don't tell anyone else.
We won't tell nobody.
Well, how can we get him to Skype?
You can't get him to Skype?
Yeah, how can we get him to Skype next year?
Zach, come here, do you want to talk to him?
Yeah, yeah, right.
Come on. No? I tried.
You'll have to talk to him and get him to Skype.
He's shy, what are you going to do?
I doubt it.
That's actually, no, that's not true. He's more shy than you think. Just because you see him on TV, doesn't mean someone's not shy, so.
Do you think he'll Skype with us next year?
It does.
I don't know. I'm not in charge of his schedule, so.
Oh.
But you never know. You can certainly try to reach out to him.
I tried. It's hard.
How's Aaron?
But no, he's great to work with. The show's awesome. He's really passionate. He really cares a lot about these stories and the subject and the places where we go. But it's challenging, when something becomes your job, you have to. It's like never ending. You're always working on it, and then you got to work on the next. So there's a lot of pressure for all of us to keep delivering. To make sure the history's right, to make sure that the camera angles are right, like every part of it. That's the job of working on Ghost Adventures.
Would Zach ever do a show with the kids?
I don't know. I mean, he's pretty busy. He's got a paranormal museum in Las Vegas, and he's got Ghost Adventures, and I know he's producing a couple other shows that are going to be coming on pretty soon. So, he is flat out swamped, but you never know when he'll take something else on. It's
What's the download?
something calls to him and he chases it, which is I think how a lot of creative people work. You have an idea or something you want to do, and then you figure out well, how can I pursue this? How can I go make it happen? And then that's the cool thing about working in a creative field is for example, if there's a country or a place I really want to visit, I try to figure out a way to make someone else pay for that, which is awesome, right? I'm I've always wanted to, go to England, and so then I get picked up to go to a conference over there, and I'm great, now I'm in England, and how can I get into the Tower of London, and how can I get into this old castle, and you start making phone calls, and it's pretty cool to be able to do some of this stuff, especially when someone else pays for it, but that took me decades to make happen, so, but it is possible, it's totally possible.
Hey, we want to go to Hawaii.
Yeah. And you know what?
Let's go.
Someone's going to bring me out there. It's just not cheap to go to Hawaii because no one has to go to Hawaii. So the plane tickets are really expensive and everything else, and all the food and everything has to go out on a boat.
But you'll sponsor us, right?
What's that?
You'll sponsor us.
Yeah, sure. What do I get? A postcard? That sounds awesome.
You get another bracelet.
You get a T-shirt.
We'll get you a T-shirt.
Oh, now you're talking. Great.
We'll all sign it.
Cool. Yeah, no, and so the thing is, this
do a nice
subject
sandwich.
allows you to follow whatever interests you most, whatever your passion is. If you're like, wow, I like old hospitals, you can go to old hospitals. If you like historic buildings or battlegrounds or cemeteries, whatever it is, like, don't be afraid to let it pull you where it will. And that's, to me, that's kind of like the best part of it. You know, you don't have to follow the herd. You can do your own thing. You know, I know a group that strictly investigates cemeteries. That's what they love. They love researching the people that are buried there, what their lives were like, and checking out cemeteries. And that's all they're going to do. And why not, man? If that's what you like, then go do it. So, to me, I think that's the best part is just finding your way.
How many books have you written?
I've written 15 books so far. And I started writing books in 2003, and it's been a little while since I've put out a new one. I'm working on 2 more right now because I do miss writing books. It's hard because books don't pay much money at all, and when you're older and you have like a mortgage payment and a car payment and a kid, and you need to eat and put clothes on your back and all that other stuff, and have pizza like once a week, you know, you got to pay your bills. And so books pay my bills very poorly. So I got to work on them like late at night, early in the morning, on weekends, or wherever I can, because I feel like sometimes a book is like an exorcism for me, where there's some story or subject I just want to explore so badly, and the only way to tell it is a book, and the only way to get it out of me is a book. And so for me, it's almost like this this creative outlet that I have to do on my own time because it just pays so little, but it helps me be who I am. And so for that, I'm totally grateful because you just, unless you're like Stephen King or like, you know, J.K. Rowling or something like that, you can't write books for a living. You need to do something else too. So but it's still a great way to kind of express yourself if that's something that calls to you.
Well, sir, your time is up.
Well, awesome. Well, guys, thank you. And please tell me how Penhurst goes. Has anyone been before to Penhurst?
Yeah, a lot of them have, yep.
Most of you, okay. So the rest of you are bait, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
The newbies.
Well, we need you to say who you gonna call again.
What?
Who you gonna call? And then Ghostbusters.
Who are you going to call? You can call me.
That's consensus today.
Yeah. So no, I think it's you're gonna have a great time. Are you going at night or during the day or both?